Of course, Mozambique has been in the media all over the world. We have not been very lucky. We've been hit hard by the consequences of climate change, perhaps more than most countries in the region. We're not fortunate. There's one main issue there, it's our location, geographical location. We have a long coast of 2,000 miles long, of which most of it is below sea level. That's very important. But that doesn't help. So every year we have cyclones. Just to have a sense, in the last 3 years, we had more than 11 cyclones, some more severe than others. In addition to floods, to come together with the cyclones, we have what they call our intertropical conversion zone. That doesn't help. Then we are in the downstreams of all the share watersheds. Everything's combined there. So it doesn't help. So when we look at the most severe one in our recent history, we have died, that has been referred to, but we're pregnant. It was last year. Just one of the cyclones, the heaviest one, sometimes we like to call the monster cyclone, that almost wiped out our second largest city. It was below underwater. We lost, in terms of output losses and infrastructure loss, amounting easily to about $1.5 billion. That's what has been estimated, equivalent to about nearly 10% of our GDP. That's a lot for a country that is scrambling for resource, not just fiscal, with many challenges, structural, infrastructural change, many gaps, and having to rely on an external world that is more reluctant to make resources available for development aid. So you go to pledges, there are a lot of pledges. When then things come real, to disburse real money, the money that makes a difference in the lives of those who have been hard hit, then you realize what has been promised. If you are lucky, you'll get 50% of what has been pledged. So that's a challenge where you don't have the domestic savings to deal with it, which is our problem. But then when you go and appeal to the world, an immediate support is there, we'll come, make sure the rest lives. But then we have to deal with the immediate consequence, the afterward, the aftermath consequence, with rebuilding infrastructure, repairing what has been damaged. Then we are facing problems. And some of the consequences are still present there. A lot has been done. So that's what I was going to say at the beginning. We lost in terms of telecommunications, buildings. Just in Beira, just to have a sense of it, almost for a week, we had no clue what was going on. Beira was cut off, the second largest city in the country was cut off the rest of the country for nearly 1 week. Communications went down, the roads were cut off, so nobody could reach them. Our own branch in Beira, we had no clue whether people were alive, what was going on. We had no information. We rely sometimes on satellite information from overseas. That's bad. So we learned the importance that we could not even try to rely on our communication towers. So now all our branch and most of us, we have satellite phones because we know when things get bad, the traditional infrastructure that allows you to communicate is not going to be present. So that's what is going on. We have done a number of things in the central bank also to deal with, in line with my dear friend Governor Letitia. They said we have to be careful that in the moments of emotions we are not taken out to do things that clearly are outside of our mandate. So we are under tremendous amount of pressure. The government has limited resources, and you can imagine the pressure that is there to find creative ways innovative ways to find resources to deal with the measures. And we have to resist there because some of these requests are not necessarily within our mandate, within our laws. Because again, you are sitting on money, you are sitting on reserves. Why you cannot make this money available now? Even if the law doesn't allow you to do that. And that's the question. And it takes a lot. You have a tremendous amount of pressure. So, well, you need to find some way. But what does it mean? So that's not easy. So that's why it's important that in moments like that, we stress our mandate, that at the end of the day, it's a government mandate to deal with these types of issues. Our role is complementary. Whatever we can do in that sense, in terms of policies, in terms of making resources available, we don't have much to say on that. But we can help in terms of making the right policy, to making sure, for example, I'll give you an example in Beta. We make sure that banks also suffer in Beta. You know, some of them, they had no clue what happened. They lost their branches in the city of Beta. And one thing I remember very well, just as it was announced that there had been to go a monster cyclones, all the branches in Beta did one thing. They brought all their money, all their valuables to the central banks. We were just lucky that the only financial institution or branch in Beta that didn't go underwater. So we were able to protect the valuables, not just of the central bank in terms of, but also of the commercial banks that were left in the country. So the important things of resilience, being prepared for the worst, it can never be stressed enough. Maybe I'll stop here and I will then say a little bit more on other details for the time being. I don't know whether I've addressed it, but it's basically in line with what government and churches say. We really, in moments like this, we have to have the audacity of saying, yes, we know, we understand, we are there, but we don't have the mandate. The legislator did not give us the tool to deal with this type of shocks. So that's where we are. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much,